Thank you for downloading the imaginatively titled Jersey Video Makers podcast. If talking into your phone just isn't doing it for you, then you need help, and this podcast is here to help you find the right people with the right video skills. My mission is to interview freelancers, professionals, streamers and YouTubers, or anyone who uses videos to connect to others. I want to learn and share industry secrets, tips and workarounds that might help you or someone you know in the pursuit of the moving image. So for the benefit of the tape, please can you state your name and your occupation?
My name's Leigh Thorne, aka DAC79, and I work at FCJ Primary School.
Gosh, so when you're not doing that, let's map out all the other wonderful things you do. So you are a YouTuber. You've got quite a big YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So what's on there?
So I've got a YouTube channel, which is just the username DAC79, and on there is lots of things from cosplay building, which is costume building, short film making, and me just taking things apart as well sometimes.
Right. Okay, so you're a YouTuber and a filmmaker.
Yeah,
we'll say that. So the films you've made are on there as well. Yeah.
So there's a lot of short films on YouTube. They're not necessarily on my channel.
Right.
I think they're on Clublamo's channel, which is a YouTuber. I did a lot of films with Primavera Pictures a while back. And so there's some films there that I've done. On my channel, I've got The Venial Society, which is a short film that I made, I think about 10 years ago now. And it went around to festivals, including the Cannes Film Festival. And that was good fun.
Yeah.
But on there at the moment is the new trailer actually just dropped like 3 days ago for Sand Hill Road of Guilt, which is a fan film.
It's a fan film. Okay,
yeah.
so is it a horror film?
Yeah, it's a psychological horror. So,
okay.
It's not. Think more sort of. It's more about kind of what you don't see as much.
I don't know about Silent Hill. Was it like Resident Evil? Was it shooting zombies or?
Yeah. So Silent Hill, the game, Konami game, came out in 1999, and I've been a loyal fan since day one of that. And it's actually Silent Hill 2, the second game, which has been known as probably the best game out there. It's actually still ranked as like the first sort of proper, well done horror game ever.
Yeah.
That is its 20th anniversary is in September. So, The Road of Guilt was originally just a cosplay video that I was going to do with myself and Ruben, a brew, and we sat down and thought, well, let's make a proper little short film. Let's have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
We've got the kit, so let's have a bit of fun. So
you thought instead of just making a horror film, you'd make it a fan film?
Yeah, so what it is, because it's we've been a fan film is because for copyright reasons mainly. Obviously, I don't own any of the rights to the Konami game, and I don't own the rights to the character names, etc. But on YouTube, you're kind of let loose a little bit. You're allowed to get away with making fan films.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that have problems. I know that Star Trek, Paramount actually came after a set of filmmakers who were making a very impressive looking Star Trek film.
Yes.
So Paramount shot them down, and it's actually in some ways it's made their film even more.
Yes, there's a story to tell. It's been banned as such.
Yeah, it's been banned. Everyone wants to see that.
But that's a good way of accessing other, bigger audiences by tapping into fandom. Yeah.
So that was kind of what happened. In the past, with other filmmakers, I've actually been trying to make a fan film for Silent Hill for a long time because it's one of my passions, always has been. But a lot of people, it's like the time and effort that goes in. A lot of people think, well, what's the point? Now, myself, I want to do it for the art side. It's kind of, once it's released and it goes out, in some ways, I don't really mind if people don't like it and stuff because it's kind of a love letter.
Some people will.
Yeah, it was a love letter from myself to the people who made the game, the people who enjoyed the game. I mean, Konami haven't done anything with the IP in such a long time, so it's one of those where put it out there, let people enjoy it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, myself and Ruben have actually got some other films lined up already. We were about to start filming one called Capture as a short film. But obviously we had the pandemic came along, COVID-19. It kind of messed everything up. So we put capture aside and thought, well, this other one is really, it all takes place basically outside deliberately. I wrote the script thinking, right, COVID-19, what are the rules and regulations? Right, we can't be that far away from people. We got to be here. We got to be there. So I wrote the script around the COVID regulations, and then we filmed it. So yeah, it took longer to film, obviously, because of what's going on. But yeah,
that's great. You was the world quieter when you filmed it because of COVID?
No. The police still kept finding us.
Oh, yeah.
So, no. Every time you set up a set of lights, it doesn't matter if you're in the back end of St. Juan like we were. As soon as you put lights on, people appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Joy boys in their cars, police, honorees.
I shouldn't go into technical questions, but I would imagine you were filming at night?
Yes, we're filming at night.
Was that a difficult thing for filming because of cameras and light levels? And
yeah, so we're filming on Blackmagic 4K, the Pocket Cam.
Yes.
So
that answers my question straight away.
So instantly, and we've got a lovely set of lenses. So the kit we're using, it was really good. But you got to remember and this is something that people really need to understand. So Ruben is a cinematographer, and I might have a Blackmagic as well, and he's got a Blackmagic. He is more experienced than me.
Sure.
I'm still learning the ins and outs with my camera. Absolutely. You can't just buy a Blackmagic because you'll think, oh, hang on a second, this is pretty much a red, and it's only $2,000. Why is it so cheap? Well, you've got to put your work in afterwards. You capture that image in raw flat, and then it's all about the work afterwards.
An investment of gear is an investment of your time to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
Really
so
good.
That's the thing. You've got to. You can't just pick up Blackmagic, stick a lens on it, film it, and expect a movie.
Yeah,
there's a lot of work that's going in.
But I suppose that's what. It's once you get to that level and you're researching and you're investing, then you're thinking, I can't just do this by myself. I have to work with others. So that's where the podcast has come in, because I'm trying to get people to connect up. And even if it just means I don't like that, I want to do this instead. That's the thing. So, but I really want to drill down into this idea of fandom, because I think you're accessing fandom and a sort of almost a guaranteed audience. You're also having. Has there been any attitude of like, well, you're not a proper filmmaker because you're a fan filmmaker? Or do you not care?
So, some ways I don't care. I enjoy writing. A good example of that would be I really enjoyed the first Silent Hill film. When the second film came out, I was very excited, and it was diabolical. It was dreadful. So I went home and I wrote a feature-length script called Silent Hill Waking Hours, and I deliberately wrote it looking at the game reality, the film reality, trying to fix all the errors and then combine them together. It was a silly project in a way because it took a long time. And originally I thought, well, what's the point in this? And it was just for fun. But funny enough, I took sections of that feature length to make the short film we're doing now.
Yeah.
When we're putting this short film out, obviously on my YouTube channel, I was the first person to make a Pyramid Head helmet cosplay costume tutorial set of videos on YouTube back in 2007 that was. So when I made that, I instantly got this audience that follow me. I can go to conventions and people recognise me, which is really weird because, at conventions, a lot of people there. But they all shout, hey, is that Duck 79? So they recognise me from making videos on YouTube. Now, when I started making this short film with Ruben, the idea was to just do it for fun for us. But as soon as we started putting teasers and stuff on the line, everyone started coming out of nowhere. And there's a website, Bloody Disgusting it's called, which is probably one of the world #1 places for horror stuff. They picked up on it originally and were like, oh, this is great. I sent them a couple of emails. What do you think of this? What do you like? They started posting stuff. And every time they post something, I see a little fluctuation in my stats. And I've got a lot of people. In fact, just the other day, the actor who played James Sutherland, he did the voice and the body acting for the computer game character, who this short film's based about, he contacted me and said, I've seen what you're doing. I love it. You don't mind if I share that, do you? And I was like, of course not. Go for it.
That's wonderful.
So even people within that, the professionals behind the scenes who created it are watching and having a look.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's like I'm writing these things which some people would say is a waste of time. But I've got a stack of scripts. All the stuff that I write is very much a psychological horror. I do love that kind of dark psychological side of horror.
Sure.
So I've made a lot of little shorts like Venial Society where they don't really get seen because there's no audience. But by making this one fan film, people watch it. And if they sit there and watch it and go, oh, I really like that, I'd love to see more. I'd happily make more films in that sort of style.
Yes.
At least they can see the directing and the editing. They can have a look at this and think, okay, that was a Silent Hill based story. But if he was to do the same thing with his team with this film, this script, what would it look like? So you never know what could come out of it.
It's a wonderful thing when you put something on the internet, you don't know who's going to see it, but to have actually met your audience. No, I'm making this for those guys I met at a convention because I know she'll like it and he'll like it, and that's a wonderful thing. It's like for you, for your personal growth, and so I'm on board with that. That's one thing. Right then, so let's interrupt the interview for. Now we are going to play the quick-fire one-word association roulette interview game.
Oh dear.
So lots of pressure here. I'm going to reel off a number of words such as software packages or industry terms or words you might know. And even if you don't know, it may make you think of a word association thing. So off we go. There's no right or wrong answer, just a one-word reply if you would.
One-word reply.
Okay then. DaVinci Resolve.
Black Magic.
YouTube.
Fun.
Trackpads.
Something you touch.
Magazines.
Something you buy.
IGTV.
A channel.
Fiverr.
Money.
LinkedIn.
Business.
Twitter.
Tweets.
Zoom.
Video.
Render.
Long time.
Green screen.
Fake.
Augmented reality.
Nintendo.
Talent.
Actor.
Spotify.
Music.
Adjustment layers.
Work.
Good, well done. You scored very well. 25 made-up points. Right, wonderful. So, there we go, back to the normal interview. So, what were you like at school and how have you changed?
School. I was unfortunately... school was a terrible time of my life. Best time of my life was college. School, I was heavily bullied. And back then, I couldn't get away from it. So, yeah, it was not a good place.
Yeah, so let's not talk about that.
Yeah, it was not a good place. Yeah, nothing good
But
came
now
out
you
of
work
that.
in a school.
And now I do. Funny enough, I always said I would... I said, why do I need to learn French? I'm never going to go there. And school was dreadful. I'm never going to work in one.
Yeah.
And I'm married to a woman who's French, and I work in a school. So.
Has that been cathartic?
Well, it's a perfect example of how you never know what's
Absolutely.
going to happen.
Absolutely.
Anyone who says they know exactly where they're going and what they're doing, they don't. I mean, I work at a school, and it's a very rewarding job, and I actually enjoy going to work every day, which that's a good sign. If you can enjoy your work, it just helps your mental well-being.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember once I was in the pub with my geeky friends and we had algebra quizzes for each other, and the person who got the sum right didn't have to pay for the beer. So if he was the last person to solve the algebra, I had to pay for the round. So thankfully, because I'd paid attention and I was quite good at algebra, I didn't have to pay for any drinks that night.
Not bad.
So
I'd
there we
just
are.
use my phone to do it under the table.
Right. Okay. No, but I think the benefits of algebra is more alcohol. Right then. So this is a fun question. So what do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, am I not grown up yet?
No. What's next? Where are you going to go now? I know you're going to be more increasingly ambitious. Short films. I assume you're going to do more cosplay things and therefore more how-to videos.
Yeah. So I'm building. I'm building a costume at the moment, which I deliberately picked something far too big and hard work.
Yeah.
If you've seen the film Aliens, I'm building a P5000
Is that
power loader.
The robot sort of exoskeleton?
Yeah,
thing?
the big power loader, and I decided to do it 1-to-1 scale, and I've started, so I can't stop now. So
how that must be very heavy.
Oh no, I'm using EVA foam. It's my product of that I use most. It's the kids' play mats. You can buy it by the roll. You can cut it dead easily. You can heat it up, shape it, glue it, do anything with it. It's great.
So is there any other things which you haven't done that you want to get into that now? And especially now we live in a post-COVID world, events are going to be different, cosplay is going to be different.
Well, so I've always got a costume that I want to make. I want to do more filmmaking and basically just keep doing what I'm doing, but learning as I'm going. It's basically what I do. I just like to. I always like to be doing something. It sounds funny. I'm not a big fan of. I do like my Netflix channels. I do like my programs, but I do like to. Sometimes when you get your head down into a project. It's very rewarding to see things becoming something. I mean, like the short film at the moment, I've had images of a Silent Hill fan thing with my name at the front for a long time. It's got mine and Ruben's, and there's other people. It's not, it is a team job.
Yeah.
But the script, when you're writing a script and then you're seeing it happen in front of you, and the actor we've got, Matt Perkins, is fantastic as James, and just seeing it all become real. It's I recommend everyone does it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you Silent Hill is a game. Do you spend any time actually gaming?
Well, unfortunately, at the moment, I've actually got some arthritis coming on, and it's affecting my hands.
Yes.
Which has made my cosplay building harder.
Right.
So when I was building the Iron Man Mark 1 costume you might see on my channel, I originally started making it out of pieces of metal, but I couldn't do the work because my hands were starting to get sore. Yeah. So I went back to foam. But gaming. Yeah, I've say my little girl. She's got to the age where we're playing games. I mean, we've been playing the Halo games from the beginning for fun. I've been enjoying my younger years playing the games, but I can't hold the pad properly, so it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. Is it come and go, or is that it for good now?
Well, we don't know. It sounds like it's not going away. So I've just got to keep them moving.
As a filmmaker, how broad is what you're doing? Even with small films, there is still division of labour. But do we call you producer?
So for my YouTube channel, I record everything myself.
Yeah.
I record it, edit it. I locate music from either from free stuff because of copyright. And because I started YouTube back when it first started, and the rules were different.
Absolutely.
And when the rules have changed, a lot of my stuff got hammered and taken down, and I've had loads of problems.
Right. So, but with the films, you're writing them. Mm-hmm. Are you performing in them?
So with yes, I will perform. I'll do anything to get the project done. At the moment, I will do a lot of the stuff because, especially with COVID, we deliberately originally, see, when we put the short film together, the idea was it was a car on a road and the guy's listening to a recording. But then I always make a video storyboard where I do little drawings and I put some music over it and we watch it and think, is this going to be good? Yeah. And we watched the first draft and we're like, this is boring. So we needed to expand it. So we actually added a lot of scenes in. So once again, sticking to COVID, the way things were, I decided we decided we need an actor, and I was like, well, I'll do that character then. So I ended up doing a character.
Yeah. And you're editing these as well?
Yeah. So myself and Ruben are editing together. So we're using DaVinci Resolve for it. As we've both got when you buy a camera, you get DaVinci Resolve free, which is really nice. Yeah. Not like Adobe, who
I kind of think with Blackmagic, I think you kind of have to use Resolve, don't you?
No.
Right,
you can stick that footage straight into Premiere as well. Yeah. It's just that Resolve's just I've just started using it, and it's so much user friendly compared to Adobe. Yeah, it's just started to find it just a bit. Yeah, the shortcuts obviously are a bit of a pain. You've got to relearn, or as we've been doing, Ruben spent a day putting all the Adobe shortcuts into DaVinci, and that's making life a lot easier.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, what would you, in that situation, what would you outsource? You want collaborative filmmaking. So, what's important for you to keep? I would imagine the edit would be quite important for you to keep. But what would you like? No, you can do that, and you can do that, and I don't care about those things as long as it's done.
Well, when you're making a film, especially with these short films, they become quite personal projects. So the small group of us will work. But little things like this one, I was actually on Facebook in a group, and somebody posted something saying, I've just released an album. What do you think of this music? And I was listening to it, and I thought, that's really good. And one track 3, instantly to me was perfect ending to the short film. So I contacted them and said, would you donate us a track? And they got back to us and said, yeah, you can use that EP, that album.
Yeah.
So having them let us use their music instantly started to make things feel good.
Yeah.
But with this, we'd quite happily outsource other stuff. You would. But when it comes to the edit, in a way, I don't think a lot of people realise that the edit, just by trimming a few seconds off here and there, can change the whole story.
Absolutely.
Just the way, Star Wars, who shot first? Exactly. It can change a character's whole being. Mm-hmm. So a bad edit can actually ruin a good film.
It is writing. The editing is writing, really, isn't it?
It's the same stuff.
Right, okay, so how has what's going on in the professional world impacted you as a creator of fan films? I'd imagine you would want things to look as professional as possible. Yeah,
so we do have a lot of problems. Like YouTube used to be, the whole point of YouTube was you, as in you. You're an individual.
Yeah.
You're a nobody, as it were, a little person making your videos. Right now, I feel like for anyone like myself, it's become extremely hard to post stuff on there and keep it yours, because everything's now designed for big companies, and the little people are getting really pushed out, and it's very hard. You've got to fight, and sometimes their bots will decide your video is inappropriate for no reason at all. Mm-hmm. So you have to contact them within a certain amount of days. Then you have to go through a process. There's no humans you can contact. Yet, the other day, I've got one video on there. I was making a prop for a film. Now, if you were to search on there, there's filmmaking companies making the same props or stuff like it. They are getting loads of money off their adverts on there. They have got it's getting shared past. It's on every homepage. My video then gets taken down originally. I had to then contact people. I had to fight to get it back. I've got it back on there now. It's ticking away, but YouTube's just not helping the little people.
How important to you is your channel monetized?
Yes, it is.
So how important to you is that revenue?
Well, originally I monetized it just generally because I don't make a lot of money, but the idea was any money I make off it, I then put back into the videos. Right. That's the idea, was make money off here, then that'll buy foam to build my next costume. That's the objective. I would say it was about 2 years ago, they changed all the algorithms, and you just don't get anything off it, so it just ticks away.
It was 2018. That was a huge cull, and people who were making a living from it suddenly couldn't. Yeah, because the whole channels were closed down because of the restrictions on. It was basically advertising restrictions. Like, for example, you couldn't, no swearing. If you had swearing on your video, you couldn't put an advert on there.
We got very worried when Copper came in, which was last year. There was a whole thing of, if it's made for kids, is there a kid in it?
Yes.
This was a very scary time, because when it first rolled out, you could look at it that I'm an adult man who takes foam, cuts it in a way to make it into a costume that can be seen as a video for children. So if YouTube decides that's a video for children and you've declared it as not for children, they can literally just shut your channel down and give you a $25,000 fine.
Yeah.
So everyone was a bit kind of, oh no, what are we going to do?
When I often say that the kids who are starting degrees now, by the time they graduate, YouTube will be completely different.
Yeah.
So they may be going in expecting to have a YouTube channel or something like that, but it'll may be a whole new thing. TikTok may go VR or something, and then the industry or technology is constantly changing. Obviously, filmmaking skills aren't, but definitely this paradigm of you want to be a filmmaker to show things at a festival and somehow make money from that, have a career from that. I think it's quite old-fashioned, really. So it's the...
Well, funny enough, I work at a school, and I do remember the teacher in one of the lessons, actually, they're having an ICT, and they said, what would you like to be when you're older?
Yeah.
The hands went up, and there was quite a few that said they want to be YouTubers.
Yeah.
They want to be YouTubers. And originally, I think one teacher said, they kind of said, really,
Yeah.
And I said, well, actually, no, you can make a career out of it, but you really need to know what you're doing, where you're going. Myself, my channel, as you'll see, it's like, I can't tell you where I'm going with it, because I created that channel just as an artistic outlet.
Yeah.
It's just where I put things.
I do think those parameters for making money from YouTube are getting narrower and narrower.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's getting very hard now.
But I think things like Patreon, and other like paywall things.
Yeah.
So maybe you put a trailer on YouTube and then you pay a couple of quid to see the full short film. But it's getting the footfall that we're more used to on YouTube is the tricky bit. How important to you is Facebook?
Facebook. So it is important. What I always say, and I say this when I do my talks at Comic-Cons and stuff, when I get up and do presentations, a lot of the biggest mistakes people use is using their own Facebook page as their
friend page,
using their friend page, their personal page as their. You've got to create a page, then use that page. Don't use your personal, in my case, Leigh Thorne. I don't use that one. I use it for my family, photos and stuff. I get a lot of people requesting me friends all the time. And if I was one of these people, like it was more important to have a lot of friends on there.
Yeah.
I could have thousands because I got people from all around the world, from different conventions, but I don't want them loose with all my data. Yeah. My personal data, my children, my family. I'm not saying they're all crazy. But there's a few crazy.
Yeah, it only takes one crazy, doesn't it?
And so on Facebook, say I've built a page, my Dax79 cosplay page, and then say that's all my costumes are. When we were making Road of Guilt, I put together a page just recently, Sand Hill Road of Guilt film page.
So for finding crew or finding people to help you, are you using, obviously word of mouth is an important part, but are you using any digital means of doing that, like Twitter or?
So no, basically on Facebook, there's a few little groups on Facebook. There's a Jersey filmmakers group, and there's a few other little groups here and there where if we need something, like I need a location, I need a filming location, and I just put it up into a few different groups.
Yeah. Got
some responses, and we ended up getting Heritage actually came along. And once again, it's who you know, not what you know.
Yep.
I'm also a member of the Jersey Ghostbusters, so I do a lot of events with them, and we do a lot of events.
Now, there was a fan film with them, wasn't there?
Yeah. So
was that you as well?
That was me, yeah. That one over here. That was, the Ghostbuster. Yep. That was actually sort of a tester teaser for people, because we have got more of those lined up. So what happened was, with that, we were ready to shoot the Ghostbuster, the Part 2. I've forgotten his name. Ghosts of War, I think it's called. It's been put on hold.
Yep.
And because the idea was we had all the Jersey Ghostbusters together, and this big event happens, and COVID happened. We can't meet up. We couldn't do anything. So that went on hold, and that's why this one.
But that video really was made to complement their business for events, turning up to events.
Well, what it was. That was made for fun, for Halloween, and it was to myself and Ruben made that. I'd just made the proton pack, and I wanted to show it off, but there was no events to go to because of what was starting to happen in the world. And so we made that short just at my school where I work, and it was for the Jersey Ghostbusters to watch and see it, because I'd mentioned it a few times. I do short filming. I'd like to make a little short film of all of us, and it was like, that'd be really nice. But until people start to see something and go, oh, actually, this could look really cool. So when they saw that little snippet of just myself in a costume, it was suddenly like, wow, imagine that. Imagine all of us, an event happening of all the packs and special effects. So they're very excited, and that will be happening. I've written, I think it's like 5 short films that make up a whole storyline. We just got to wait for the world to get back to normal.
Absolutely.
But as you say, Jersey Heritage, we do a lot for them with the Ghostbusters, and then they let me use a venue for this one.
Sure. So the takeaway from that is to find people and ask people on Facebook, but it's those relationships, those real life relationships, that really count for filmmaking and favours and ideas.
Yeah, you do find it's a lot of who you know, not what you know. I mean, as I've said this many times, a lot of people, once something's out and done, they say, oh, well, you should have come to me, or you should have done this and should have done. But sometimes you find that a lot of people, they want their name in the credits, but they just don't want to do the work beforehand, take the risk. And it literally, I mean, I do have a nice stack of scripts. We've got a good crew at the moment. We've got a good team working very well together. We could make some great stuff. I mean, back in the day, Jersey wasn't used for filmmaking because we didn't have a laboratory. People used to film on film, and you couldn't get your film developed here. That's why Isle of Man, I think if you watch all them Jersey videos of the Germans in Jersey, they're all filmed in the Isle of Man because they had a laboratory. But now we're digital. So this island, and I've said this so many times, has got so many amazing locations. There's a lot of people were kicking a fuss up about the Jersey housewives getting filmed here. Now, I saw a pilot of it, and I thought, it's not for me, not bothered. But
look how good Jersey looks.
Jersey, everyone thinks of Jersey, they think of Bergerac. And that's old and dated, and everything's changed. If we could make more things on Jersey... I mean, when I was at Cannes Film Festival, 10 years ago, and I was walking around there's an arena where all the different countries have a table, and they're trying to sell. They're saying, come to us, come to Portugal and film a film, come to France and film a film. And I looked around and thought, why is there not a Jersey one here? I couldn't get my head around it, because we have so many really good locations, and we're digital now. So,
and each of those films is an advert for Jersey.
Yeah, it is.
It's much more than just the adverts for Jersey. So, and it as a filmmaker myself, I've had some fantastic locations, especially just a bit of imagination. Right. Okay. So, if you had to give a TED talk, a public speaking engagement, what would be your subject?
Well, my TED talk would probably be about cosplay building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you go on stage with gear and knives and start cutting things out?
Do you know what? I thought about it at one point. At the last event I did, I was going to make like an Iron Man helmet out of foam in 10 minutes or something, just something quick and easy. But usually what I do, because a lot of people I find who come to see me talk are people wanting to do the masquerades. They want to get up on stage, but they haven't got the nerve. So what I do is I do the one that I do most, actually. I've got it on my YouTube channel, Walk Through to a Win. It's just talking about how to pick a costume, what materials I'd recommend, how to put a performance together, and how to perform and look after yourself at a convention, because a lot of people collapse at conventions. They cover themselves in foam. They put lights all over themselves. They stand in front of the mirror at home for 5 minutes and go, yeah, I look cool. Then they get on a con floor where it's extremely hot. They don't drink water, and then they just drop down.
So what's trending in your head right now? What are you looking at? What's cool? What do you want to copy? What do you want to...
Cronenberg's son started making films. I watched Process the other day, and it was fantastic. So I have been showing that to some people, saying, look at this. I want to do something like this. So I'd like to do more horror. Horror shorts, psychological horror, which is definitely better than just silly horror. I do like silly horror, but I like it when it messes with your head a little bit.
Actual horror.
Yeah, I've said, the perfect film for me is I'd like to watch a film and then have to go to therapy afterwards. Yeah, I'd be happy. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So before you go, where shall we send people to see your stuff? So your YouTube channel. I put a link to that.
Yeah. So you can go to YouTube channel DAX79.
Mm-hmm.
There's my Facebook page, which is DAX79 Cosplay. That's for my costumes.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to follow Road of Guilt, you just go to Silent Hill Road of Guilt. But I tell you, if you just Google DAX79,
right,
you'll find me. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, Leigh. So before we go, if you have you, our gentle listener, if you have any video problems or if you want to learn and grow, then by all means, if you've got to the end of the interview, you must be fairly interested. Then by all means, DM me or email me, and maybe you could be a guest on the podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, we appreciate you, Leigh. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will see you again soon. I look forward to your premiere. Is it going to be publicly shown?
Yeah, it's going to premiere. It's going to be September.
Yeah.
Probably the 24th. We haven't locked it down. September. It'll be on YouTube. On
YouTube. You're not going to have a
So no, we're going to have it because it's the 20th anniversary of the game.
Yes.
We thought on the date it was release it as a world premiere.
Right.
We haven't worked out the time zone we're going to do it for, and then we're going to stick around on the YouTube to answer some questions.
Great. Okay. Nice one. So see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.